Discord. I can't hear you. How's that? Shut up. Got you. Burn.
Burn! Welcome to 0 Hit Points, everybody. It's probably April 2nd. We'll get to that soon enough. I'm Ryan Miller, and I'm glad we got him for today. Everybody, taking some time out. It's Matt Ambert.
I'm in demand.
A hot commodity.
That's right. I'm very important.
I truthfully actually do, though, thank you, because I know what it's like having a horrible workday. Or at least a long workday. I don't know if it was horrible or not. I just assume long equals horrible. So
that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do this as less horrible as possible with grammar and a shorter recording time.
Well, every time we say that,
okay.
Oh, this will be a quick show, and then 4 hours later, we're like, hey.
I remember back in the day when that really was a thing, when we did the movies and the thing all in the same thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no.
I'd have it along. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The original freaking thing that was just way too long.
And then, yeah, we'd be like, okay, this one's going to be a short one. And then, no joke, it never went under 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, no, we had to curb ourselves. We had to curb our enthusiasm.
Didn't we? TV.
It's Thursday's book club for TV.
This is a good chance, though, to get out ahead of some of what's been going on, I think, because why I say this might be April 2nd is because lately it's been rough for the both of us, just with work and other stuff that's been going on, and possibly, again, just maybe needing to take a break. We have been pretty good, surprisingly good, at coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Before it was Wednesday. Again, I don't know if we ever missed a Wednesday.
Impossible to find out.
Patting our own backs here. But we've missed some Wednesdays, let's put it that way, now that the cast comes out on Tuesday.
There have been a few Wednesdays that have been missteps, but...
It's all going to work itself back into some sort of a schedule, but just bear with us. Part of the reason, though, is I feel like we've been building to something that's been taking up a little bit of time. It's been taking up a little bit of my time trying to prepare to take up less time. Because I'm going to your house on Wednesday or Thursday.
Thursday? I don't know. If you get here Wednesday, you're going to have to call me and let me know because I won't be there to pick you up. But Thursday, I'll come get you. It's
Thursday. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason. Mm-hmm. And it's also maybe you'll get a little bit on the back end here when we actually do get together and have a spectacular of sorts. This has got to be like if I planned birthday presents or bought birthday presents and or Christmas presents, this would have been one, I think.
For yourself. You're like,
no, for you.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, for me. Actually, it's a pretty decent one for me, too. Yeah, but I feel like...
I thought you were building this up for you. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be super exciting. You are going to be so disappointed when you come here.
No, never build for me. That's number one.
Okay.
Because Shazam!
Shazam!
Your number one dude.
My favorite.
They're making a movie about him.
I've heard about that.
It's just so happened we timed the trip with it. I think it was a perfect coincidence. So
it was a coincidence when you mentioned the date. I was like, well, if you were like, well, I'm thinking early April, and I was like, so like the first week of April, because that's when Shazam comes out, and you said, well, that was exactly what I was thinking.
It's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I'm making a thing of it too. I'm watching that Superman Shazam cartoon that came out. I have no idea when, actually.
5 years ago now or something?
Sure. Mm-hmm. I'm reading the New 52 Shazam reboot, which is that the current... Like that's the... I know you said that's part of what the movies appears to be taking from, is the New 52 Shazam dealie that came out in Justice League?
Yes.
That run?
Yeah. So the New 52 Shazam was really disappointing because they didn't use him hardly at all. This is actually, for that character, it's been an issue for them for basically forever.
They never know what to do with him, it seems.
Right, because he, like, as a character, that he doesn't grow the way other characters can. Like, he is perpetually a teenager. He is perpetually a teenager in a superhero's body. There's a lot you can do with it, but with him, I mean, his original nickname is the Big Red Cheese. There's a reason for it.
Because they couldn't come up with nicknames for him.
That's correct. They couldn't have said Lightning Man or Captain Sparkles, whatever they say in the commercial, which they actually did say in the comic book.
I know this is all the wrong show for this, but just by way of explanation and by way of tune in on Thursday, where we'll continue this very conversation, I would imagine. We're here. We're still here. And we'll possibly be here on Tuesday.
We'll see what happens.
For this show. Yeah, we'll see what happens. The idea being this show gets out at the very least before I get on a plane. So, hey.
Well,
because this show's the one about video games, Matt. 0 hit points.
when you come here, by the way, we're going to play some video games. I got at least one to play that I'm
okay.
Yeah.
You've been pitching movies at me for a solid month or so, but I haven't heard about any video games.
Oh yeah, no. These are all the games shall be. One of them you already know about. I figure we'll play Toejam and Earl while you're here. But
okay, that makes sense.
I got a one or two more maybe. I definitely got one more, and there's another. I'm kind of floating on another one, but I got one that I think is going to be it's going to be a good time. We're going to have some fun with it.
Okay. All right. It sounds like a good plan.
Silly party games.
Well, you had one plan that's horrible, and you're like, haha.
Every time I've ever seen, so here's the teaser for this game. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to tell you anything about it other than you and I have both seen people play this. I have never touched it in my life, and every time I've watched people play it, it is maybe one of the funniest things. And that might be the problem with this game. It might only be funny when you're watching it, but we're going to find out.
Did we see this at PAX by any chance?
We have seen it at PAX, yes. We've talked about it in other places, I think. So
kind of narrowing it down, but it doesn't really... But okay, so yeah, hey, we got stuff to pitch for this thing too. We're going to do...
Speaking of pitch, let's talk about Randy Pitchford.
All right, in the news section.
Then we'll get there. I just wanted to get ahead of it and say, hey,
get out on the pitch.
We're pitching the pitch.
So we got things to look forward to even for this show. Are we going to do one of these live while I'm down there? I know we're recording our Shazam impressions, the whole Shazam show down there. I'm bringing my mic and everything.
Okay.
Are we doing one of these too?
We can, yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to find we can find a place to do it. That's fine.
We're going to be flying by the seat of our pants anyway, so whatever. We can do it in the bathroom.
Whoa.
We can do it in the bathroom.
0hitpoints.com. We could do it in the bathroom. That's all. By the way, that's one of those phrases that's like all about inflection. It's not contextual. I mean, context helps, but if you hear it with a certain inflection, like we could do it in the bathroom, people immediately are going to go, huh? And then we could do it in the bathroom. Then people go, oh, science experiment, or, whatever.
Yeah, context might still be, yeah.
Context is people call it king. I'm not really into the whole gender role thing, so I'm just going to call context a thing. Okay.
Okay. Context is thing.
Yeah.
Just rolls off the tip of your tongue.
That's very good.
Good, because if we were talking about like going to the bathroom and we were like, you can do it in the bathroom, it's different.
It is. It's also, out of all of them, I'm not going to say the most factually correct, because all of them technically are factually correct, but I think it's the one that you most can go, I get behind that sentiment.
It's the least surprising. Yeah, it's the safest.
I can second that emotion.
Now, see, if you're talking about seconding emotions and you're like, I could do it in the bathroom. Again,
it works.
Context matters.
Yeah, look.
Speaking of context,
hey, it's
on the video games podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've gone to a terrible direction.
Have we? Again, it's going to be a short show.
Okay, then we're done.
Do you have any video games you want to talk about this week?
I played Toejam and Earl.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I was going to mention that when you mentioned it, because I feel like you played it a long time ago. I never heard about it.
I like it. It's a good game. It plays.
This is the new one. Was it Back in the Groove?
Back in the Groove, which I had a really funny interaction with them on the night that released, which I never really talked about.
On Twitter, yeah, you got. The main dude runs the account, right? It seems like.
No, he has a team of people, but it's a really small team and all that. But I thought it was pretty amusing that they were like, hey, the game's available. At this part, it'll be available on Switch in a few hours or tomorrow or something. And so I was like, oh, cool. You know what? But they said you can preload. So I was like, all right, well, cool. I'll go download it so I could just have it done. So I went and downloaded it, and they were like, yeah, it'll be available X time or whatever. And so I clicked into it, and I'm like, I'm just curious. I pressed play, and I'm playing the game. So I took a picture of it, and I'm like, hey, guys, this is playable right now. And they were like, you bamboozle? Is this real? Where did you get it? Is it they asked me 1,000 questions, and I'm like, do you realize, I just want to point out that I don't think you have any recourse here. It's live. I don't think you can just turn off a button. You're not Nintendo. So what I tell you doesn't matter. The answer
did that end up being legit though? Like, did you really get it soon, or did they just not understand that all the Kickstarter things went out like that?
No, I think anybody could have logged on and played. I think they were just listening to what was going on the Twitter account. But I don't know. I mean, it was legit for me. I was okay. I'm playing it. Cool.
It seemed like a matter of dates, anyways. Like the game wasn't unfinished or anything, obviously.
No. And it is so perfectly Toejam and Earl. It's got that it's a roguelike thing and it is just stupid. And I think my favorite part of the game is that there's really truly no explanation for any of it. Like you go around, you get presents, you try to find spaceship parts, you try to not get hit by people, and sometimes you get wings and rocket skates, and then you fly off the map.
It sounds, from what I know, a lot like the first one.
Oh yeah, no, it's basically exactly that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm for it.
That might be because I've been listening to some people talk about the history of that franchise and how the first one is kind of pretty much it.
Yeah,
nobody seems to have kind things to say about the follow-ups.
There was only really, like, I mean, I don't know, there might have been more than one, but I feel like there was only one sequel, and it was not. I feel like it was a side scroller too. It was
completely different or something. Yeah, it didn't really.
I think it was a side scroller, and that's why I never played it, because I never played the second game. I only played the first game, and I played that over and over again. There were two games that I played, possibly more than any, that were not NHL or Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis, and that was one of them. Was Toejam and Earl. The other one was The Immortal. Will Harvey's The Immortal, which I desperately want to play that game again. Every single time a Genesis emulator comes out, I'm like, oh man, if I get that, I can go buy The Immortal again.
Have you seen if that's on the Genesis Mini thing they just announced? 40 games or something?
I have not. I highly doubt it would be on there. It's not a well-loved or well-known game, I don't think.
One of those, huh?
Yeah, but Will Harvey is funny because Will Harvey had a whole bunch of games out at one point, and he was one of those guys like Sid Meier, where he's like Sid Meier's Civilization, Will Harvey's video game extraordinaire. I can't remember what games I feel like he did. Populous.
Not as successful.
No. I just it's a name that I haven't really thought about in a really long time, and I feel like he did Populous. And
okay. So those are some of the games, though. I feel like from hearing you talk about it, it sounds like it's one of those games that you just had when you were a kid, was never good, just was simply never good, but you love it. Because it was either the only one you had, maybe it was the only one you got that year for kids like me who got a game a year, pretty much,
Toejam and Earl?
You just played it. Was that Toejam? I feel like there's enough word about Toejam and Earl that's a good game. No, I'm talking about Immortal.
Oh, no. Okay, so the Immortal was a good game. The Immortal was actually maybe a great game to a point. Okay. It was really, really punishingly difficult to a point where it was a game that maybe at the time, and God, even now, because I might be mentally too young, I just didn't understand how it worked. I could get to a point, and then I was like, okay, what do I do here? And I kept going back to it because I really wanted to understand what I was missing. And it was, and the game itself is it's an isometric game, and you're a wizard, and like the game starts off with you found a ring, you wake up in in like a labyrinth. And you are immediately met with a goblin, and it's a goblin, he's a humanoid, strong-looking guy, and he's got he looks like a goblin.
Sounds like a goblin.
And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna fight you." And then you go into this like fight mechanic where you are now, instead of it being isometric, it's now like kind of behind the wizard a little bit, and you can move, you can dodge left and right, and you can attack. And so you have to dodge him and then attack. And when you attacked, one of the best parts was that you killed them in really gross ways. Like the first guy, I'll never forget it. You dodge, you hit the guy enough times, and then the last time you spin your wand thing and you hit him on the head, and then his head just blows up. You had to go through this labyrinth, and you'd find spells that allowed you to do a couple of fireballs, and then there were these things called will-o-wisps that would come and kill you, and then there were trolls, and then there were goblins, and sometimes there was a good goblin, and the whole idea of this game was getting from the top of this labyrinth to the very bottom to fight a giant dragon. And I never got that far. And
Where was the part you got stuck at? Do you remember it?
I'm sure
like
it was
yesterday.
Really early in the game. Like it was
first enemy.
It was one of those games. Like it was very much a ghosts and goblins thing, or super ghouls and ghosts.
Okay.
Where,
say no more.
But I got farther than I did.
Yes, of course you did. It's not ghosts and goblins. Ghosts and goblins.
Goblins.
More than one ghost.
And or ghosts.
Doesn't matter because you never got that far with it.
The Immortal. That was the
as far as you know, Ghosts and Goblins consists of one ghost and maybe a goblin. You never saw that goblin.
I've never seen any of the ghosts or goblins. I've only seen zombies, I think.
Very true. All right. Well, I'm curious how I'm going to take the Toejam and Earl.
Me too.
Because I did play a little bit of it at PAX. It definitely wasn't feature complete at that point. I want to say you even had some reservations with it in the state that we played it at then. But I also don't have any reverence for the first. I mean, I have reference for the aesthetic of the first, that kind of wacky, goofy, just whatever, and the music actually too.
Oh, sure.
But I don't know if I'll take to the gameplay. I'm happy that it seems like a faithful representation or faithful revisiting of the first one, but I don't know. I'm curious if that's going to do it for me.
No, and this is a game I actually sat down with Beth, and she was like, I don't get it. I don't. and it wasn't like she was like, yeah, the buttons are a little funky, but it was really more of a I don't understand. And I think that's what this game. I think this game it's a super niche game. You either are like super into how very little you're doing along with all of the things you are actually doing, or you're not. And it's like this is a game where I don't feel like there's a middle ground. You either like it or you don't.
We'll see.
We will.
Do you have anything else? I feel like there was something else you wanted to mention.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to quickly mention, just because I've talked about it in the past.
Okay.
Beth's obsession with Zelda continues.
Yes.
So she actually I mentioned that she flew down to Arizona to help out with the passing of my uncle. Did I mention that she took the Switch with her?
You didn't, actually. That's a pretty big step.
And that she not only took the Switch with her, but she played Zelda like in the airport and all the way down, like on the plane.
Oh man.
And
I don't even know if I'm gonna do that when I come. Actually, I should bring my Switch to Colorado, right? That's what I should do.
Probably. You should definitely bring an Xbox controller too, I would say.
Okay.
I actually can't remember if I've got another working one or not.
Writing this down.
Yeah. So she didn't get to play a ton.
Sorry, traveling with the Switch is a big step.
Yeah, she didn't get to play a ton because she was busy doing stuff, working, and then helping out with other stuff. But she wasn't
like playing it like in the funeral,
like
or anything?
like no. No, I mean that would have been fine. I would do that, but no. So she had to shut it down, and then the battery died, and she was like, yeah, I really hope it saved where the battery died, and I was and I said, oh honey, you don't know. Oh, you're adorable. So as soon as the Switch got put back on, no, it's fine. Booted right back to where she was.
Oh,
like
awesome!
It didn't even deviate from the state that it was in when when she had she slept. It did not deviate from that state.
No joke. She didn't know. I didn't know that's how it worked, really. I thought you were going to say she lost 2 hours and that was the end of Zelda for Beth.
No, because she told me flat out. She was like, I had gotten into a shrine. I was I was like in the middle of doing a shrine, and I'm like, oh. And she was like concerned about it. I'm like, oh, well, you save right as you get into the shrine. And the shrines aren't really that long. So you're probably not that far behind, and you'll be able to get to where you are. You're not going to have to.
Picked up there, or it picked up literally in the middle of that shrine? It
literally picked up where she was swimming. She was in the water, and it was awesome, man. Like I've been purposefully like kind of giving her some space to play on her own, so I'm not just always sitting there. But I love listening to her, like, because she totally does the things that we do, and it's so like. And hearing her, because I've never gotten to hear it. It's just like the cutest, most wonderful thing to hear her going, oh yeah, you want to do that? Okay. Well, what if I do this? Huh? How do you like my sword now?
Funny. I don't feel like it's as cute when we do it.
Oh, you know what? I think you're wrong. I think we're adorable.
Okay. Hey, this is revelations left and right.
This is my Bible. But I think it's wonderful, and she seems to be having a lot of fun with it, and she finally, and again, this just pisses me off. She finally got to the tutorial shrine that teaches her how to lock on.
Oh, hey, there she. Now she knows how to play the game.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, like, why is that so far away? Why is it so far?
You just don't understand.
No, I don't.
Games.
No, I don't.
Nintendo games.
I do not.
I'm sad I don't have any analog this week. I'm sure my brother's still playing Breath of the Wild and maybe he got the DLC for his birthday like he wanted. I should check back in.
All right, let's find out.
I don't have anything also to rival you as far as my games played. I'll continue to skip Red Dead, maybe until we're at the very end and we can just talk final impressions there.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at with it.
Okay. I did retire at the top of my game, Gears of War 4 competitive gold tier 2. I was just kind of hoping, there was a second where I was getting into it a little bit, hoping maybe I capped out at Onyx, because I was just going to stop when I unlocked the 2 achievements I was going for. There's actually one more achievement, but I'm not even going to, like, it's one of those bad type of achievements where you kind of have to game the game. Like, you have to go for a different goal than is the goal of playing the game. So nobody wants you to do it, let alone me. But yeah, no, gold tier 2, and I'm done. And it continued to be fun and funny for most of the time, I think, because, and this is the playlist that this had to be done in was 2v2 Nashers.
Ugh.
So, well, yes. First of all, yes. Second of all, by kind of embracing maybe the worst part of the multiplayer of that game, they've also distilled it in a way. Like, that's, number one, it's 2v2, so your options are limited as far as that goes. Also, you only have an Asher, so your options are limited as far as that go. So what it turns into is this really common strategy between most players that I noticed is to not only keep moving, but to keep moving like frenetically, like always going into and out of cover and blind firing, and just this really weird game style that everybody appears to have adopted. And I never did. I don't do that. I don't know how to do it, and I don't care.
It just seems like so much effort to get from point A to point B.
Well, at some point, it's like a professional level of play, right? Like, I'm sure somewhere, in fact, this is when I hinted at, it wasn't last week now, but whenever I last talked about this, that I play very gay. That kid said that because I don't play like any of these guys. Like, I walk, number one. So all these guys are like jumping and diving and going into cover in and out, and I'm just like turning the gun to him and shooting and one-shotting him, like just walking. I'm not even going into cover. Like, I'll walk around the corner of the cover because you can get some, it seems to me. I'm never zooming in, and you can see they play like that too. I'm always just blind fire. I never scope in at all. I'm just walking around. I'm basically the Terminator from the first Terminator. Thank you. I'm just walking real slow everywhere, shooting a shotgun at you while you try and run as fast as you can.
Do you remember when he said, "I'll be back"?
Oh yeah, that was Terminator 3.
Rise of the Machine.
Maybe the best one.
That's right.
These are all lies. Genesis is the best Thursday book club for movies.
Genesis.
Did you ever watch Genesis?
I have not. I think I've only seen 3, 4, and 5 once each.
But Salvation.
Oh wait, no, and I haven't seen Genesis yet, so that's the 5th one, right?
I don't know. Thursday. That's Gears of War 4 for now.
Forever.
Gears
of War forever. There we go. Got it.
We did it. We solved Gears of War 4.
Finally.
Speaking of which, I'm still off. Like, Gears of War 5 isn't going to happen for both of us, right? You haven't.
Gears of War 5 is not happening for me at all. I am
sure.
I am actually like I'm totally done with that franchise at this point.
Okay, just want to make sure. I feel like because that was me, Gears of War 3, Judgment, and I feel like I'm still missing one, and 4. Actually, no, yeah, 4. 3, 4, and Judgment were bought at your behest.
Yeah.
Basically.
And we played them. I mean,
we have. No, and have had limited amounts of fun with them, but...
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing I hate, I think if Gears... You know how Gears would get me to buy it? I would consider buying this every time one was released. If they just decoupled the multiplayer and the multiplayer achievements... Take all that away. So it's just story stuff. Man, I'll play Gears with you all day long, and I will spend all the time doing all the achievements for the story.
It's true. You've done every story with me. That's true. That was only after that I think you dropped off.
Yeah, because I just, the multiplayer never really does ton for, like, I enjoyed Horde. Horde was fine. I did not love...
Until 4.
I didn't like Horde on 4 because of that stupid base building crap.
Because they ruined it.
Like
it was fantastic in 3.
The double down on...
I loved it in 3. Remember all the 3?
The double down on how poorly it was laid out, I guess, was it. I just didn't...
And that was where they worked in all their microtransactions too.
Right.
Like that's... Who thought that would ruin it?
Yeah. MX Transx.
Anyways, I hope that this podcast doesn't begin right now because recording dropped and we just restarted, and I'm pretty sure this thing saves when it stops. But again, if it didn't, welcome to 0 Hit Points.
You wanted... It was going to be a show early.
Yeah.
We got it. I hope my microphone, or I hope my thing shuts off. It's on charge.
Does it have an auto shut off or?
It's on charger, so I mean, if I just unplug it, I'm sure it'll die.
Okay. As long as we have an out.
Yeah.
Speaking of 4s, there's been a sea change in Rock Band 4 here at the Miller House.
We're back to Rock Band.
It's been out because my whole setup's in the garage, right? It's a semi PC looking setup in my garage office with my Xbox One, etc.
Yeah, it's fancy.
That's where Rock Band has been. That's where I play it when I play it. I've got a child or two that can get into this thing now, and I feel like I've only been shortchanging them as a father by keeping it sequestered here. I mean, they can play it whenever they want, but something about Daddy's office. I don't know.
Yeah, don't come in here.
Something about Daddy's office also. A context-sensitive phrase.
Again, also inflection.
So I moved it into the house, 1, and then 2, as I do when I boot up Rock Band 4, it seems like once a year or whatever it is, I check the recent, because they're still releasing songs for that thing. And every now and then...
Really?
And yeah. And recently it seems like they've gone, I don't know how recently, because again, I'm just like, I log in and like 7 different seasons pop up because I'm in I think it's called a Rivals or a club or something with a friend of the show, Adam Parkin.
I was going to say, don't you two hate each other in that game?
Yes. Well, no.
Well, I mean,
yes.
You hate him because he's always beating you.
Yes. And probably vice versa. I don't know. They used to have this really cool taunt mechanic where if you bested somebody's score, you could send a taunt, and they were all funny taunts, and then you can kind of go back and forth like that with your friend feed. I hadn't seen much coming from him recently, and I found out why later. Whatever, I'll tell you now. Apparently, he's been singing more than drumming. So I've found where all the I beat your score things are now. And then I go to like reply, and it's like, you're playing a different instrument. I'm like, playing a different instrument? He's been singing. He's been singing his heart out to all these things. So I guess I have to start singing.
Yeah, no, get after it. I highly recommend you turn on your voice notes when you do that, by the way.
What does that mean, turn on my voice notes?
Or voice memos on your iPhone.
Voice memo. Oh. He was saying I should stream it as well, which I keep seeing. It says that he's broadcasting. Is he broadcasting himself singing Rock Band 4? Do people do that?
I think everybody does everything.
Questions that we'll ask Adam soon.
Sure. Maybe someday
it's a PC.
Maybe someday you and Adam will come out here and it'll be crazy and weird. It won't.
I know.
That can't happen.
Passport? What? Do you need a passport to visit the U.S. from Canada?
No, they're just like, oh, you're Canadian. Come on in. What evil can you do?
For every Canadian we bring in, a Mexican gets its wings. I don't know.
Wow. Let's go ahead and skip over and just keep going to video games. Rock Band 4, how are your kids doing?
It's the northern border and the southern border. They're related. It's like whenever the border just shifts. Like people don't actually ever come over. It's just if the southern border goes up, the northern border goes up a little too. So it's like, no, you shut up.
It's like you're trying to keep an aspect ratio.
Exactly. See?
All right.
So Rock Band 4 is in the house now. They've released new songs, and a lot of them appear to have come from what used to be the Rock Band network. Remember that?
I do. That was the user created stuff, right?
Yes, kind of. Yeah, it was more. They were fancy users. Like you still needed a license. It still was labels did most of it, because I believe there was some sort of creational help to it, but basically it wasn't truly user based creation or anything like that. Like you can't go in and make your own. You had to have a band, and maybe I don't know exactly how it worked even, but yes, some of the less heard of bands, which means some of the ones I had heard of, showed up. So I got some of those songs the bad thing being you had to repurchase them. None of them showed up as free downloads like the rest of the music did. So anyways, long story short,
Okay.
long story long,
That's right.
I spent $100 on Rock Band 4 DLC over the weekend. Maybe you could validate some of these.
And yeah, your kids broke everything, and you're like, well, that's where I thought you were going with this. I thought you were going to go, and my daughter broke the drums, my son broke the guitar, and now our TV has a microphone in it.
No, that's been a success as far as all that goes. Like my daughter before she would only ever sing. Now she's tried drums and guitar, and she's loving it. So all that worked out. Maybe some of the stuff that didn't work out is because some of the songs I bought were because of the kids. Like I got some One Direction songs, but I got a lot of Queen.
I feel like
I hadn't had before.
I feel like I like let your kids enjoy One Direction, but never put them on things like this. Like that was just a poor choice. But okay,
this is a long story. Like that. So me and I'm not actually going to tell it right now. But me and my wife got married. Very similar musical tastes. She was in a ska band in high school. She was in a ska band in high school and college, like an actual ska band, like open for Blink and the Aquabats and stuff like that. I was in a punk band, like not in an actual punk band. I played in a garage for a while. Anyways, whatever. Similar musical tastes. Mm-hmm. And over time, I mean, I did the whole college thing with all the indie music, and now I've definitely broadened, my taste as far as that goes.
Certainly.
I'll take in anything. I'll give everything a try once.
Sure.
My wife has really gravitated towards the pop stuff. Ugh. And I don't know if that's because of the kids or with the kids. Yeah. So like my kids aren't even like, they don't come home and say One Direction. Like my wife feeds them a One Direction song or two. And I mean, they love it. They're a poppy thing. And I'm not hating on them, like you said, if that's what you were saying, but.
Oh no, I hate them.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
I don't hate them.
Lots of Queen. I got Africa by Toto, sure. Roxanne by The Police, Johnny B. Good by Chuck Berry.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So I'm not, disappointed of what I got in Santeria by Sublime. Things probably that I should have had already, if you think about it. I've just never done the DLC thing. Like I bought some for some of the achievements on Rock Band 4, but I've never like gone into the catalog and just bought piecemeal a bunch of DLC like this.
I'm telling you, man, Rocksmith, dude, it's the way to go, because you could do it. You could set it to the easiest setting, and you are doing exactly what you're doing in Rock Band, except with a real guitar, and you're actually like, I don't know.
Someday. No, I am closer than ever on it.
Oh, the DLC for that game kills me, man. Because they do.
Have you done this for that? Like, have you spent a chunk?
Oh, yeah. I've got probably $70-$80 of DLC in there.
Great.
But the
this is what I have to look for.
But again, it's like I don't look at those. And I'm not saying I look at it that way for you, but for me, it's like I don't look at those as like that's not a waste of $70. I can sit down and learn this whole song, solos included, the lead, the rhythm, the bass parts, all those are there, and you actually can plug in your USB mic and sing along with it.
Right. No. Yes. It will happen eventually. I'm just.
I know. Well, no, look, Rock Band is an awesome place to get started because the guitars, they're the right size for kids' hands, and that keeps them in one position, really.
Yeah, and that's something that Rocksmith isn't going to fill a hole for.
No, you have to deal with the fact that a guitar is a guitar, and you can get minis and stuff. You don't have to get them a freaking dreadnought, but on the same.
I don't know what that is, but I want to get it now.
It's just a big-bodied guitar, big-bodied acoustic.
It's got two necks. Is it one of those?
It looks like a ship.
Yay!
It's got a bow, and it's got on the one end you've got Russell Crowe, and on the other end.
Oh man. Tune in for Master and Commander.
Yeah, booklet removed
last week.
But I think that no, Rock Band is awesome because the drums are an awesome. Like, do you want to learn how to play drums? Because that's it's not exactly drums, but dude, that is keeping rhythm.
That translates. Yeah,
it translates for sure. And the guitar stuff. There are points where it translates. Like in particular, songs that have a lot of the two note thing where you're basically doing power chords. I think it's super useful to get.
Yeah, I never really got with the people who decried Rock Band as kind of a waste of time. Like,
whatever.
You learn musicality from that game and just straight up music. Like it'll turn you on to bands and
Absolutely.
ones that you probably didn't get into before. Like there's a lot of value to that, even on a plastic instrument or whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, totally.
I Fought the Law by The Clash, 21st Century Digital Boy.
That's a good one.
All Star by Smash Mouth. Walk Like an Egyptian.
You know what? Don't at me about the Bengals. I freaking love them.
They're amazing. Have you ever seen the YouTube video where they play that show in Pittsburgh, I think it is?
No.
Oh my gosh, man. If you haven't watched their live show of Walk Like an Egyptian at that Pittsburgh show on YouTube, it might be one of my just top viewed YouTube videos.
Love it.
To have been there. Like it looks like it was probably produced because the crowd is just nuts, but that's what like the crowd was in the 80s. Remember when people like really got into stuff like unironically and unashamed
Bruce
of
Springsteen
unabashedly? Yeah. Remember when people were dancing in the dark?
I remember when Friends were,
man.
in particular Monica.
Message in a Bottle by The Police. Wonderwall. Sorry.
It's a good song, man.
Band of Horses.
Rock
This Town by Brian Setzer. That's have you know Band of Horses?
I've heard. No, I know the name.
Okay.
I don't know who they are. I don't listen to them.
You should listen to them.
I will say though, and this is just as also more of a tag along. Rocksmith does the same thing too. There are bands in there like there's a whole chunk of stuff in the first sections. Like never heard the songs, didn't know anything about it. Checked out the band, was like, hey. That's actually kind of a fun band. I like this stuff. So I love that. And it's cool because with those songs in particular, I think one of the best parts is you go in without an expectation of what it is, what you're going to learn, how it goes. You go in completely blind and are like, okay, how does this go here? Like, how are we gonna play this? It's cool. It's fun.
It is cool. It's fun. Lonely is the Night by Billy Squier.
Lonely is the night when I find myself alone.
Thought you'd like that
Yeah,
one. In fact, I'm surprised we got through all those songs without you singing any of them as I said them.
Oh man,
I thought it was just gonna be just a cluster of that happening this whole time.
Keep going. We'll go. We'll do it. Let's go.
That's it. That was the last one.
I'm a 21st century digital.
And that's
boy.
almost the last game that I played if I hadn't been playing the Microsoft Solitaire collection like nobody's business.
Can we just cut the show there? I feel like that right there is how you should end a show.
I'm not going to add anything to it. Just I will add pyramid boards that are unsolvable. That's what has been introduced at this stage in the game. And it sucks. It's stupid. Like you get down to the last card, you're like, oh, guess I don't have one for that. Games are stupid.
Games are stupid. 0HITPOINTS.com.
Games are stupid. Hey, these past few weeks, I'm not going to say there hasn't been any news. There's been a ton. But more often than not, we don't talk about game announcements because that ends up being kind of just a lot of rah-rah and maybe nothing else. But what if you need that sometimes?
Occasionally.
What if there's 3 games that came out and I don't even know. I know one of these we definitely want to mention just because of our history. We played a lot of, and maybe came together most with Borderlands 2. Would I be incorrect?
No, I think you're right. I think that's where we became the best of friends.
The best of friends. We also played close to 200 hours of that thing,
if not more. Yeah, it would not shock me even a little bit.
And we were always doing stuff too, is the crazy thing. Like there was a lot of content, a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, and we had that was one of those games too where we actually had fun grinding stuff, and really usually the only time we stopped was either after so much time doing one thing we're like, all right, we just got to step away, or I was just tired. Just straight up, it's time to go to bed. I just got to go. Yeah.
So with the announcement of Borderlands 3, and we've talked about Borderlands 3, I think a lot of times. So I won't even talk about this a ton, but they came out with a trailer for it. It's been officially announced, and the trailer's good. It looks beautiful. It's not a great trailer, but it does look beautiful. It looks like the next step, but we got none of the gameplay, really. And I'm not going to say it lives or dies by that, because it occupies this strange space where it's coming out, having been the precursor to a lot of what we're seeing now, to kind of games as a service as it stands today.
Sure.
So to come out amongst all that, it's strange because I'm worried they're going to go all the way and it's straight up a games of service thing, which I think would suck. I might still get it or whatever, but or it's going to go halfway. It's so weird because what do I want then? Do I want more of Borderlands 2? Like, do I just want more of the same? I feel like that would be enough. Like, I would still be into it.
No, it sounds like you're concerned about what was the handsome Jack one?
Handsome Jack?
The whatever the one was.
Oh, the pre-sequel.
The pre-sequel, yeah. Which I mean, that wasn't made by Gearbox though, right? That was made by
they farmed it out, but still,
right.
It was.
So but that's the concern that I definitely have is that it's going to be like that. It's just not going to be as good. And you've got Mikey Newman's gone, I think, right?
He's gone. He's the guy, the writer for Borderlands 2 is gone. It's
right. So you've got this is one of those things where Gearbox. This is their baby at this point. Borderlands is the thing that keeps Gearbox going. Borderlands dies, Gearbox is going to die with it.
You think so?
At some point. I mean, I don't think it's an overnight thing, but I think Borderlands is their biggest thing. Like you look at Take-Two, and Take-Two's got a couple of IPs, right? But the two that the two that you recognize immediately, right. GTA and RDR, right? If those two IPs just disappear from Rockstar, Take-Two, or whatever, does that that's one thing. Rockstar's put out different games. They've made Manhunt. They've made all these things. Gearbox has done kind of the same thing, but less. I feel like, and I feel like also the stuff that they released outside of Borderlands, while some of it, what was it, Band of Brothers or whatever the hell it was called, the World War II game, World War I game. I know people, which
they haven't touched for years,
right? I know people really like those games, but were they outstanding in the swath of those, in the sea of those types of games? I don't know. I mean,
and I don't know. Number one, no, and number two, I'm okay. I mean, I liked the 360 one. It might have been Hell's Highway or something.
Brothers in Arms.
Did it stand out? It stood out in its craftsmanship. Like, it wasn't a Call of Duty thing. There was more to it than that. It wasn't just a Call of Duty clone.
Sure.
Does something like that stand on its own nowadays? I don't know. Like, can something like that exist today? Yeah, I don't know. That's probably why they haven't touched it. Probably no, actually, is the answer.
Yeah, well, I mean, and so Borderlands for me is, like exactly what you said. Trailer looked fun. Nothing in that trailer was like, nothing in the trailer blew my mind. It was very much Borderlands. It looks like Borderlands. You can see the DNA and the stamp and everything that, you're not going to confuse this with anything else out there because everything in Borderlands looks exactly like everything in Borderlands does. This is one, man, the excitement level is there. I want this to be good. I want to be able to go back and I want to be able to spend another 200 hours with you and other people and play these games again and again. I really enjoy those experiences. But I have learned my lesson, and especially from Gearbox. There's no way I'm pre-ordering this, and there's no way I'm buying it day one. Period. I am waiting. I'm not just waiting for actual, like, for Kotaku's review. I'm going to wait for people to actually like go through and be like, well, this is buggy. Well, or I want at least a week of other people playing it and hearing this is really good.
It'll be apparent, I think, pretty quick if it's what we're looking for.
I hope
so. Or good enough.
I hope so.
Good enough would probably be good enough for me.
Again,
honestly. Like, and it's been long enough too since the Borderlands that it doesn't have to do much. I'm just afraid it's going to have like so many annoying little like twigs. Is that a thing? I don't know about it, that like they're trying to do something here, or they better do this because every game's doing it nowadays type thing. And
right,
to be fair, especially since we've talked about Gearbox, I don't think they would do that. They've been a pretty smart company despite their stupid things that they've done, especially recently. Like that part has kind of never been a question for me, but sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good.
No, I mean, for the last hour, I've been interrupting you. So that's one thing.
Okay.
There were two other things that came out. One of them's Wolfenstein Youngblood, which you sent to me, and I was like, oh, cool, the game that already came out. I thought everything you was talking to me about was New Colossus. No, it's a new game.
Totally new game.
Youngblood. Yeah, and shortly thereafter, I saw a trailer for Youngblood, and I was like, "Oh man, did you see the trailer for Youngblood also?" Oh, that's what you sent me before.
I'm excited for that one. That because Wolfenstein so far I think they've done a great job with those games. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen Overlord, that's basically Wolfenstein without BJ Blazkowicz.
But also, the term movie isn't like, I could see why you would make that Freudian slip. Like, everybody out there saying that single player games are dead and never going to make it, and they're too hard to make now, and all this stuff, and freaking Machine Games out there just saying, what are you guys talking about?
Well, and I love with Youngblood, they were like, oh yeah, well fine, we can still make a 2-player single story game, a 2-player single player game. That's what it is.
Innovating in the field. Yeah. And like right down to its core too, like one of the most striking things about this is that you can buy the deluxe copy of the game. Number one, it's a budget priced. It's kind of like
$30 game.
I played this one. Yeah, I played the $30 follow-up to the first one, New Blood, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, it actually wasn't. I don't know if I'd recommend it because it didn't have one of the tentpoles of Wolfenstein, which was the story. Like, it had a story, but it wasn't as good or as substantial as the first. This appears to be good and substantial like that. You're playing as Blazkowicz's, I think, twin daughters, or I don't know, daughters. I never played New Colossus, so I don't know. I'm guessing this continues from there.
You are playing his daughters, yes.
Okay. On the hunt for him, because he has disappeared. The trailer looks freaking amazing.
Yeah.
This idea that you can buy the full version, the deluxe version of this thing, which normally $30, deluxe still only $40. And with that, you get technically a copy or a buddy copy or whatever they're calling it, to give to anybody you want so they can play co-op with you.
Yeah. And I guess from what I remember reading, it's not like a one-time thing. Like, you can do it with anybody. You can only do it one at a time, though.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, I might be wrong about that.
I don't know two people, but for some people out there, I feel like that's a good deal.
Yeah. No, are you kidding me? I figure this is one where we'll split the difference on it.
Yeah, right.
$20 each, and then we'll,
I can afford that.
Put that on my bill for everything else I owe you.
So there was that. And do we do a short show yet?
No.
Gosh, this is going to be the same. Okay, you know what? I'll leave it up to you. If you want to skip Mortal Kombat 11, we can skip it. But holy crap, Mortal Kombat 11.
We got to skip it. We got to wait at least another week or two.
Everything that's been coming out about that, I'm just like,
yeah.
Okay, I'll say this.
Here's why we got to wait. Because it comes out in like 3 weeks or something.
What, really?
It comes out this month. It comes out in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this then. It's a day one with the stuff that's coming out, especially if you haven't seen that story trailer. I don't buy these games because the fighting gets old to me. Fighting games get old to me, period. Number one, I don't think the fighting changes too much between... I'm sure it does for the people that get into it. I can't get into it that much. So yes, I've gone from probably going to skip this thing to passively interested to I'm going to day one this thing for the story alone. I don't care if I never play the fighting stuff beside the stuff that comes along in the story, but
I will. It's the same thing I do with Injustice. I don't care about the online stuff. I like learning how the characters work. Like Injustice, I actually continuously go, oh, do I want to go back to that? I kind of do, because I really enjoyed learning how to play Flash and doing all the different combos together and stuff. But,
sure, yeah.
And Mortal Kombat's no different. Like, I will play it. I will go through the story with every single character. I will probably play towers, and if the towers don't exist, I'm going to be extremely pissed. But
they're there now. The crypt is there.
Wow, the crypt needs to be like 7,000 times bigger.
You've seen the Shang Tsung thing, right? At the very least.
Yeah. Well, thankfully they've got Hiroyuki Tagawa coming back, because if you didn't, which by the way, I had no idea about that. I logged on and Khalif, friend of the show from Spawn on Me, shout out, go check them out. He posted, he was like, "Oh man, Shang Tsung's back," and my serious reply was, and now all they have to do is get Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa back. And sure enough, I didn't even read the link, the article. I was like, well, there's no way they're going to get him. And then I see so I think somebody tweeted at me. I think Jake tweeted at me. And I was like, well, there we go. If this game could be a day -2, I would do that. I'd get it early.
The Noob Saibot, Jax, Liu Kang, Kung Lao.
Cassie Cage.
But you're right. Let's not talk about it.
Johnny Cage. Luke Cage. Iron Fist.
So much good stuff. And this isn't it. Like I said, there were huge freaking news things that came out. Nintendo did a Nindy showcase with like Cuphead and like all sorts of stuff. Google Stadia was announced, which is literally just like a sea change, like an actual sea change in gaming. Like the possibilities are crazy. The possibilities are endless.
Oh man, I love pasta.
Truly.
I haven't had it in a while.
Apple Arcade was announced. Apple's doing a subscription service for games. The company that could apparently care less about games, it seems, most of the time, is doing a subscription service for games. Lots of stuff to talk about. What if instead we do another round of Ryan Springs the News on Matt?
Let's go!
And for those of you who heard the only other time we've done this, it's not a lightning round, although it's very similar. I have just 3 news items from these last couple weeks that I will spring on Matt. He doesn't know what they are, but I have written down here very close to interpretation correct answers to these headlines.
All right, here we go.
So Matt, if I give you these headlines, if I spring the news on Matt and you get the response correct, I will let you know or put a ding in there somewhere. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go, Steve Harvey. Family Feud.
Call of Duty Blackout's first new map, Alcatraz, comes out tomorrow or whenever the day after this.
Well, that's better than anybody else who was in Alcatraz. Because they didn't get out. Okay, wait. Remember that show Alcatraz? It had...
Getting warmer.
Okay.
Are we doing a 3 strike? Are we going to Family Feud this thing?
Wait.
Two Family Feud strikes. You've got 1 left.
I think I got it. It's got something to do with Nick Cage and Sean Connery?
Yeah!
Oh, there it is. Got it. All right. I'll take
Written
it.
down here, reference to The Rock.
That's
all it had. It's as specific as it had to be.
Yes.
All right. Hey.
Yes, The Rock.
1 for 1.
Yes.
Next headline. I've got 2 words for you. No Man's Sky. VR.
That's 5 words.
Correct!
Yeah! Because V and R are different words.
So many words.
Yeah.
None of them matter. Last but not least. Headline. Evil Dead's Ash coming to Dead by Daylight.
That's just mean for you to even bring up, considering my computer is broken, I can't play a game I really like, and now a character that I love is in the game, so shut up.
You know what? I'll take it. Correct answer was shut it down. Podcast over. Thanks for listening to 0 Hit Points, everybody. We got to be back. We're glad that you're back. Keep coming back. Thursday, we're going to do another movie.
Yeah. Oh. What? The end
Ryan Springs, the Thursday podcast on Matt is a new segment we've got going on here.
The end of the tour is this.
The end of the tour.
All right.
Which I did watch. Thank you very much.
Good. I'm glad you did. That's going to make our Thursday book club for movies show even better.
So check that out. It may actually be a short one. We'll see.
We'll go. Okay, we're going to do it right now.
Bye.
Bye.